we often like encounter this problem that there is somebody who is perceiving and there is a perceiver. So
Yeah.
basically, it comes to, I mean, these discussions normally come up when there are specific topics like where you need to witness your mind, the movement of the mind, or so. And so there is a question of somebody perceiving, and it is often understood that that's the point of your reality from where you are actually perceiving the movement. But I had a different experience. I felt that it's like, it's a transposition of the mind. It's the mind itself which is creating this type of illusion. Because if you are perceiving something, I mean, who is actually perceiving that? And who is again perceiving that? So there are layers of illusions which are getting framed up. So, any answer to that? Sorry, thanks. That's it.
Yeah. Can we just go back to the question? So you said there was something that I missed, which was really pivotal, which was the bit about, you said that there was all these layers of the mind, and
yes,
and were you asking who sees that, or were you trying to ask that it's the mind that undoes itself?
Yeah, like, because initially when in some amount of meditation or a type of contemplation, you can say, I started actually watching the mind. I had the impression that like this is probably the place of absolute from where I'm watching the mind.
One second. I'm just going to have to turn my volume up on Skype. I'm just every so often you cut out and then it makes it very. Okay, yeah, carry on.
Yeah. So initially, like I was under the impression that what I am observing my mind is actually the point from where I'm observing is actually the point of absolute. I mean, that's a stillness from where I'm watching. But later I had the, I had the feeling that this might not be the point of absolute. This might be another layer of illusion which has been created by the mind. So
yeah,
that's
totally.
The question, like.
Yeah, okay, I understand that. Yeah, so that is a position of the mind, but don't be disheartened by that. So what happens is, at first, in this apparent process of waking up, is the mind, in some bizarre way, turns around and looks at consciousness. But it can't really turn around and look at consciousness. But that's what it seems to do. So there seems to be this ability to get to a point where the mind can see beyond itself, and then it can seemingly perceive consciousness on some level. But that cannot be the end goal, because you know that's happening, and if you know that's happening, that means there is something beyond that perceiving it.
Right, yeah.
So there is something that's conscious of you being conscious of consciousness. So
right.
So there is something deeper in that, but this is a very important stage as well. This is like the mind becoming less and less identified with itself. It's kind of like that saying of Ramana Maharshi, you use a thorn to take out a thorn. So I would just keep seeing that and keep seeing the depth to that you can never ever find consciousness. There can only ever be consciousness. So as soon as you think that you get to any point, as soon as there is somebody or something that's seeing it, it's in time, and there's something that is seeing that. So seeing can only see. It cannot be seen. Who would see it?
Right.
So, but this is all part of the breaking down of the mind, and that's really deep for that to happen. And that's really important part, because that's the point where intellectually it's really known who you are. So this is a really profound effect on the mind and really deeply relaxes the mind. But there is something that's seeing all of that and knows all of that. Seeing can only see, it cannot be seen. And it's happening now, so consciousness is happening, is what's actually listening to me and to you on the human, the two humans speaking. So consciousness is perceiving all, and that cannot be perceived, but yet it's happening. So perception is happening, so deeply present.
Okay. So basically, I have a sequel to this question. So
Yes.
if that's, yeah, like, okay, like, I contact your views, but yes, like when I start watching, in fact, I know that somebody else is also watching me. So that's definitely not, the point what I am talking about. It's definitely another state of the mind. But tell me something. Is there a point in doing this exercise of watching the mind when in the first hand I know that it is probably going to be a futile one? I mean, is there a point basically to do this exercise of watching the mind, or like you think it is it's a no go? I mean, there's no point in doing it.
Yeah, no, I think there is good point in doing it. So the point, I don't think that, it depends what your goal is actually. So it's not going to get you liberated, because there is no you that gets liberated. But the reason in why this is traditionally suggested, and why it's suggested by a lot of people, is because when you identify as a child, you begin to believe a lot of false things, like you're the doer, that you're a person, that you're a name, that you're an idea, that you're an age, that you've got to make your own happiness, that you've got to go and do things in life. So you build up all these ideas, these belief systems, religion, science, your beliefs about people, judgments. And as that carries on through the years, it puts a lot of focus on thinking, and the thinking becomes very over the top and big. So by the time somebody's just merely 20 years of age, they are very involved in the thinking process. And this is uncomfortable, and it gets worse as you get older if nothing's done about it. And the purpose of becoming aware of the mind and conscious of the mind is actually to settle the mind down and settle the human down. It's to see through the lies of the mind. And this settles the mind down. And then the theory is in non-duality, as you settle down the person, then another possibility can be seen. But that's all down to grace. Even you being conscious of yourself is down to grace, but it seems like you can do it, that you can put your attention in the moment and become conscious. So what you're actually doing by this practice is you're becoming less neurotic, more balanced, and more in line with the way things are. Before you get involved in this, you're very out of line with the way life is, and that's why people suffer so greatly. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
So they call
Very
it
subtle.
like traditionally, I think they call it like I forget now actually the word. It's like a practice, like these practices. So yoga or jnana yoga or service or devotion. All of them are about the person becoming more balanced. It's like the groundwork. It's like putting fertilizer in the soil. But that you won't become enlightened, and the you won't ever get there, because who would get there? That the consciousness is right now, but when you're deeply suffering, that's so removed. When you're deeply involved in thoughts and your belief systems and your ego, it's so deeply removed, the idea of the beauty of this moment or the oneness of this moment.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So, so it boils down to something like, till the point there is going to be an energetic shift. I mean, which looks to be probably an act of grace.
Yeah.
I mean, this look. I mean, we'd be all stuck up in this point itself unless there is that energetic shift. I mean, it can't. I mean, we can keep on telling that, but that's more of an intellectual statement rather than an energetic feeling.
What's a more intellectual statement?
Like I can say basically, yeah, it's like the watching the mind. I know there are movements of thoughts and all this stuff, but these are mere intellectual, assumptions. I mean, but
Yeah.
in effect, Like,
Yeah.
so so unless there is an energetic shift, I don't know like how it happens. Like it's an act of grace or like
Yeah.
it's an act
And
of
that will
God. Yeah, whatever it is.
yeah, that will happen. Like that will happen. Like there will be a point in where that energy lets go. Like nothing lasts forever, ever. And what the human does until that point is it presents itself. So when I say presents itself, it like listens to this message, it listens to non-duality, and on the human level, you put effort into becoming more balanced, less reactive, less caught in stories. So it's like you present yourself.
Okay. Okay.
And it will happen. Like there's no doubt about that. Consciousness will remember itself again. It cannot remain lost forever.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. I mean, that's
With
it.
pleasure. Yeah. Nice to speak to you again.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye. Hi, Jed. Hi, Lisa. Do you think Khaleesi could ever become enlightened? Eckhart Tolle met Pamela Wilson's dog and said that it was enlightened. What do you think? I think Khaleesi is enlightened. I think she lacks the ability to know that she's enlightened, but I think that she's just truly herself. And that includes her grumping and her groaning and her jealousy and her possessiveness and her joy and her happiness and her fear and her excitement. It includes all of it. But she hasn't got the ability like humans to recognize that, but she is free inherently because she never identified with being a person. But because she never identified with being a person, she can never know going home. So she can never know the difference between being someone and being everything. So she can't know that. She can't know who she is, but she is who she is. So she is free. I mean, that's my belief. I mean, I can't guarantee anything. Everything is words and blah blah. Danke. Danke, Jed. Actually, are you Dutch? Thank you very... Oh, you're English. Okay. Sorry, Jed. Thank you.